Um, as I was going upstairs and getting the cord to charge this tablet, I was thinking about like days where, like tonight, for instance, because this is like what the 10th video I made. I mean, not counting really, just guessing. And but yeah, there's days where I can like go all night if I wanted to, just spewing bullshit. But there's times where like days I should say, where like I couldn't make a video if I wanted to. Like even if I tried, like more than likely I would just put it on a chopping block and just say, no, this is I'm not really feeling it, and it's just not going to happen. Um, sort of, I have a similar experience in my writing, where there's times where I may like go take some mushrooms and not really know what to make of the experience during a trip, but like after it's over, I know the first thing I'm going to do is write about it because so I can sort of remember. Even when there was a time where I just reread all of my stories where I was like rolling on whatever, and I mean, ideally I don't want to. I mean, there may come a time where I may just like have an L in front of me and just smoke it and see what becomes of it. But I mean, being that I get socially awkward when I smoke marijuana, um, it's probably not going to be a good idea. But I forgot where I was going. But my whole intention was to. I mentioned the Bronx Zoo in the last video, and I wanted to mention it today. Despite the drama, I'm not going to get into. I was offered the opportunity to hang out in the city, and my initial reaction was I'm probably just going to sleep until like my therapy appointment at like 6:10, and on any given day, I mean that would have been the plan, and sometimes I can't really do anything about it. Where I mean, as much as I want to break out of the cycle, um, it may take like a few days. It may take a few weeks. I mean, there was a point where like after a few months, I needed to be hospitalized. But that's another story. But um, after giving it some thought, I made a decision to. I remembered that today was Wednesday, and um, like there's if you go to the Bronx Zoo on Wednesdays, it's pay as you wish. There's other um, institutions, museums that do this. For example, the New York Aquarium does it on Fridays. Um, the MoMA is just basically free. Um, I mean, most places, like I remember going to the Whitney Biennial, and they had this idea where the exhibit was going to be open for 24 hours for a couple of days. I think they had to shorten it up because they initially wanted to do it for X amount of time. And I remember losing my wallet, so I literally gave like 1 or 2 pennies because of it. Well, not by choice, but that was just my situation at the time, and I really wanted to see the exhibit. So, yeah, between those like pay as you wish and like free days, something you should definitely take advantage of. The one thing I took advantage of right away once I knew about it was um, the Thursday night Chelsea gatherings were between 6 and 8. If you go towards like 10th Avenue and like the 20s, like mainly like the mid 20s, they have like gallery openings, and there's websites like artcat.com, artcars.cc. You can actually like they have lists of like the specific addresses and suites and rooms where the opening is going to be, and yeah, most of the time you'll just like go into a gallery. Um, I had a friend who, well, not friend, we like talked a few times. He says he stopped going to the gallery openings because of the fact that he wasn't impressed by the art whatsoever. And in a sense, that's the one of the reasons why I stopped going. But it became popular with me because for the first time since college, I was able to like roam around from like apartment to apartment. It seemed like and find free booze. 9 times out of 10, if you go to like, let's just say most of the time, you go to a specific opening, they'll have wine. Um, Sometimes you may look out on some like cheap beer, whether it's like PBR, Budweiser, or some foreign beer, or Stella, and sometimes like on a lucky day, you might luck up with mixed drinks. Although most of those openings are invite only, you have to be on a list. But sometimes they get like a vodka company or a liquor company to sponsor the opening, and you you get to have like mojitos or mixed drinks. So I'm trying to forestall this computer overheating and shutting down, which is right next to me. But yeah, I was talking about the Bronx Zoo. So, I, like, I had no idea it was gonna like turn out to be like one of the best decisions I made. Definitely since I got the can from IPRT, which is a program I was going to for a little over a year. So since then, my days went from being like a little structure to no structure at all. I say little structure because the primary reason why I was not kicked out of the program, that case was closed, was because of attendance. So it was kind of like I I knew when that happened, I knew there was going to be like a period where like worst case scenario, like I'm not gonna have like any structure to my day whatsoever. It kind of goes back to like the whole TV scenario that I mentioned. I mean, yes, it is sad if like your life is TV, but I mean sometimes you may be dealing with like whatever issue you may have, whether it's I don't know what that phobia is that people can't leave their house. I know Virginia Woolf had it, and there's like another phobia where people can't um, deal with other people or are afraid of other people. Um, I know it starts with an A because it's anthropophobia, if that's the right way to pronounce it. Um, it's gonna go crazy more than any other phobia. Fear of leaving the house, but yeah. Um, Luckily, instead of taking the Q5 to the Q44 or taking the E train to like the 5 and transferring to the 2, I was able to borrow a car and drive there. And me and my brother, and we got there, and um, parking was $15. My lunch was almost $15. The all-inclusive ticket to like all the attractions, because like there's like a general admission ticket, but it doesn't include. There's some stuff like if you don't want to pay that $15 and you really want to see this one exhibit that deals with like for instance the train ride that this tram, and that may have been $3, but if you paid $15, then it was sort of like an all-inclusive deal. All those premium features were included. And you didn't have to keep shelling out $3. So yeah, I was like pretty impressed with the animals, but I definitely would not have gotten the same experience had I've gone there by myself or even went there with somebody else and say like, okay, I got better things to spend $15 on and just like taking half of it. I mean, yeah, given the time frame, like we definitely didn't get there by 10 o'clock and stay until 5. Um, there was a point where like we got there shortly after 1, and we definitely didn't. We left roughly at 4 o'clock. Um, but yeah, I mean, even if I would have done that, I mean, it would have been nice. I probably would have not gone back until years later. I'm pretty sure they would have had a different exhibit for the 4D Ice Age experience. Because I mean, over time, I mean, I doubt if you go to Universal Studios, you'll find E.T. Still there, along with Twister, or another outdated movie like Back to the Future. But there's some like classics that never go away, no matter like how long they've like been out of theaters, like since like the 80s, or I think E.T. was like 82 maybe. I remember meeting Drew Barrymore, and speaking of celebrities, the last one I met was Rona Mitra. You can go on IMDb to see what movie she's been in. She's been on more TV, I find. But yeah, she was at Burning Man. Um, so yeah, I was kind of like blown away by like some of the premium features and what it had to offer, and I mean that $15 was definitely well spent, and there was like a lot that I didn't even check out. So I mean, if there's a day where like my friend Chris Weiss, if he ever wants to hang out, or anybody, I have another person my father introduced me to, and if they want to hang out sometime, aside from going down to the World Trade Center Memorial, which is another place I have yet to visit, because it's been over almost 2 years. It's been over 2 years since like the memorial was there. Um, I know the museum is going to open up in another 2 years, and that directly coincides with the Flight 93 Visitor Center. They're both going to be open on the 2015, the 14th anniversary of 9/11. So I'm looking forward to seeing those two exhibits. Um, I remember there was some photographer I met, and we sent one email. It's something I should have mentioned. Like I was actually, not that I was like sexually attracted to her. She was a college student, but I hope she doesn't see this. There's a small possibility she might. But yeah, we kind of exchanged emails, and I sent her one email, and she sent me back an email, and yeah, I hadn't heard from her. I guess one day when I'm bored, I'll go through my list of emails and contacts, and sort of, you know, that should be able to occupy an hour or two of my time. But I gotta think of some other way to vent. Um, I mentioned video art. That was like my initial sort of. That's how like people like discovered outside of the BMAC community message board that I was into the whole like chicks on steroids, and then I showed it to my class, and then like next thing I knew, I got on Facebook, and then there were some family members that deleted me from their Facebook because um, like this one family member I had. This is I'll just it's a sensitive topic, not with me, but this person, she's a psychologist or psychiatrist, and due to the nature of her job, she can't really have that associated. Like the perfect example is my friend, my best friend. He moved to Florida, and his friend helped him create a music video. And now that he's like a sixth grade teacher, he had no choice but to remove. I mean, he actually removed it off of YouTube long before he became a teacher, because he was a teacher's assistant before that. But I mean, now given his position, I even read about a principal who he's like roughly maybe a few years older than me, and before that, his position, he made a video where he portrayed a pimp, and he had a nickname, and he had all his hoes in this rap video, and now all of his students kind of like call him his rap name, his alias, what he went by, and it's kind of sort of like that Carlos Danger sort of bit. And I'll end it with I made another video with mistresses, and I felt that the video was a bit dated, because even if you're not from New York State, the two politicians you heard of, like I'm sure most people have heard of Elias Spitzer, because he got on camera like a lot. I mean, you saw his face more so than you would have thought. But Anthony Weiner, I mean, he was just a congressman, I believe, and then, I mean, he became like a household name eventually. All right, that's my 15 minutes. Peace.